My clothing brand isn't making any sales. No matter what I do, no matter what I try, nothing seems to be working for my brand, and I don't know what to do to just finally get this to start working for me. That's what we're going to be talking about in this video for brands that are stuck. They just can't seem to get over that hump to start making sales. By the end of this video, I'm going to share with you some really solid solutions to pull yourself out of this situation and to start finally getting some orders for your brand. I hope you enjoy. Apparel Success is sponsored by my buds over at Design Crowd, and if designs are something that you struggle with, I really recommend that you try them out. You post a project on Design Crowd, amazing designers from all around the world are going to compete for your project. You choose the winner, then you get that design plus revisions. I've legit sold thousands of these designs on my website, and I got them all made through Design Crowd. If you're interested, head over to designcrowd.com/apparel to learn about the special offer that I have for you, or just use the discount code APPAREL when you post a project on Design Crowd. All right, so I want to start this video out with some real talks, one-on-one here. If you're struggling to make sales for your brand right now, the very first thing that I want you to do, and this is going to sound super corny, but I don't care, forgive yourself right now. This is a super hard industry, and most clothing brands that start up, including mine, really struggle in their first year or two to figure all of this out and to get their brand off the ground, to start making sales to people that they don't know, and to start building interest. If you've never done this before and you're struggling with it right now, this is a very common experience from people who have become extremely successful. It's a part of the whole process. And so I think that what happens is a lot of clothing brand owners start bashing themselves. They start feeling guilty. They're like, why isn't my clothing brand like all these other brands out there that seem to be crushing it? There must be something wrong with me. I must be a bad entrepreneur. And that's just not the case. It's a really tricky thing to figure out at first. And it takes a lot of trial and error and a lot of experience to really hone in your skills and start mastering this. So take a deep breath, let go of any guilt, and let's practically find solutions here to get yourself out of this situation. The first thing that we're going to have to do is go back to the drawing board, and you're going to have to make changes. Okay, make tweaks. A huge mistake that clothing brands make in this situation is they just keep trying the same things and they just keep getting the same results. So it's okay here to go back to the drawing board and change some very big things about your brand. If you keep doing the same things over and over again, you can only really expect to get the same outcomes. So honestly, follow along with me here because I think that this is really going to help. We go back to the drawing board and we're looking at your brand. And when you're looking at your brand, what I want you to ask yourself is, what does the product market fit look like right now as my brand is being displayed? When you look at your clothing brand's website, when you think about your clothing brand's concept, ask yourself this question honestly. Is the product market fit a little bit off? Because I have a feeling that for most clothing brands that are struggling, this is the main reason why they're not able to make sales. The market and what people are actually interested in, what you're offering them, it's not really matching that. And in your head, maybe as a clothing brand owner, you think that it is, but in reality, you haven't quite created that perfect product market fit yet. And so when you go back to the drawing board here, look at your brand and ask yourself, what are the reasons that people are going to want to buy my clothing? There are 4 reasons why people buy clothing. Emotion, how you're making them feel, aesthetic, how does your designs look? Status, is it elevating their status? Or utility value, there's something about your product that's offering some sort of unique utility function. Which of those is it for your own brand? And if it's emotion, for example, then you can focus in on the specific emotion that would connect with your specific audience. So as an example, for my own clothing brand, I represent rural Canada with my brand. And I know that the emotions that I'm going after in rural Canada is humor. So I want to get a laugh out of them when they see my clothing, and also pride. I want them to feel proud to be Canadian and proud to have this sense of humor in Canada. And so when I'm creating my brand, everything that I'm doing on my website, on social media, on my Instagram, is expressing those emotions perfectly for that audience. And when there's that perfect product market fit, selling becomes really easy. And I'm not just saying that. And what's likely happening with your own brand is that this product market fit is off. Okay, there's this gap where people are seeing your brand and they're going, there might be a little something there, but it's not really connecting enough with what I'm looking for. And this is kind of a harsh reality to face, but it's also the truth. Another reason why you might not be making sales for your brand could be that you just simply don't have enough traffic to your website. But in most cases, if you've driven hundreds or thousands of people to your site over the course of several months and you don't have any sales yet, it's likely this product market fit, and it's likely, the fact that your brand just isn't being displayed well enough. So what this means is that the changes that you make should be to enhance this product market fit and get it closer and closer to being accurate. And the way to do this is to really do some more research into your audience and exactly who you're selling to. So the way that I do this is for rural Canada and who I'm trying to sell to, I'll spend some time on TikTok looking at the type of content that people create for rural Canadians. And I'll get to understand my audience a little bit better. I'll get to see what makes them laugh, what they're saying, how they talk, what's lighting them up. And that just helps me really understand my audience some more. And I'll spend hours doing that. And then I'll include things on my website that really connect with them in that way. Because the primary thing that I'm selling for my clothing brand is emotion. It's emotion, and it's how they feel. And so with your clothing brand, you can do the exact same thing. Like if you're an inspirational clothing brand, go into Instagram and look at different inspirational accounts and see what people are saying and see how people are thinking and what they're feeling so that you can make your brand perfect for those people. And this is actually, it's like easier said than done. At the same time, it's really not that hard if you put in the work and if you really just chip away at it. Here's what's happened. And I'm going to be extremely honest with you. And this is going to sound a bit harsh, but most new businesses, when they start up, they have this conceptual reality that they've created in their head and this fantasy for how things are going to go and how people are going to respond to their brand. And when they put their actual brand out into the world, it's a completely different reality that you're entering into. You're entering into the real harsh market and the real harsh reality of the world rather than this conceptual idea of what you think will happen. And this bubble just gets burst in every single new business that starts up right when they launch because they have this fantasy in their head for how they want things to go versus how things actually go. And all that you're doing here is you're coming up against this reality, you're facing it, and now it's just time to adapt. Things are okay. You probably came up with your idea from a real place, from true inspiration, and it's just about going into that a little bit more. And the big thing here is making changes and making tweaks. So going back to the drawing board here, looking at your brand, we're reassessing your brand to see, how can we really improve this thing? How can we start getting some sales? The main things that you want to be looking at is your brand concept. How well have you honed your brand concept? Like when people come to your clothing brand, do they know what your clothing brand is offering them? Is it the aesthetic of the designs and being this new, innovative streetwear brand in terms of the designs that you're coming out with? Or are you a lifestyle brand that's going after an emotion and a certain type of lifestyle? And what is that exactly? And how well are you expressing that on your website to create that product market fit? The other thing that you want to be looking at for your brand to make sure that you can start getting some sales is how well is your website designed? Like what's your website quality? If you can't find the cart on your website, if things are spelt wrong on your website, there's no way that you're going to be making sales. And then, the other one would be just how well are your products being displayed? Does everything look professional? Do all the designs look really good? Are all the mock-ups looking really good? And are the descriptions all filled in and all of that? So those are some of the finer details that you can look at and just start making changes to and making tweaks to. But behind all of this, you're focusing on that product market fit and just getting that closer and closer, because once you lock in on that and you really, find your niche and you do everything you possibly can to create that connection with those people, sales will start to come so much easier for you. When it comes to marketing, definitely focus on content creation on TikTok and on Instagram Reels. Try and get your brand out there through creating organic content, and then get gritty by actually commenting on people's comments on your own stuff and DMing people promo codes. Get gritty with it to make your first sales. You don't have to just sit back and post content all day. If you're trying to get your first sales for your clothing brand, you can definitely, if you notice somebody's commenting on your stuff frequently, you can comment back and say, here's our website link, here's 10% off. Get gritty with it. Actually make it happen by investing your own time into it. That's how I made literally thousands of sales in my first few years, was all on Instagram, commenting on people's posts, answering people's comments, in the DMs, sending people discount codes, and really just making sales happen that way. If you just have that actual interaction with people, a lot of the times that's all that they needed, was just like a little promo code or a little interaction with your brand. And I think that all of this should be considered for you if you're not making sales right now, rather than just sitting back and saying, oh, I created these t-shirts and I created this clothing brand, why isn't anybody buying it? All of these factors go into it. You've got to be making changes. You've got to make sure that that product market fit is good. And then at the same time, you've also got to be getting out there and pushing your brand out there into the world. People aren't just going to find your brand on their own, just from your shirt sitting on your website. You've really got to get out there and push your brand out there into the world, especially at the beginning when nobody's ever heard of you before. So I really hope that helped spark some ideas for you. It really helps you claw your way out of this situation and start making some sales for your brand. And, I wish you all the best. If this helped you out, please drop a like on this video and let me know what you think about all this in the comments below. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace. My clothing brand marketing program is 50% off until the end of the year, and this is the last sale that I'm ever going to have. I break down real conversations I've had with celebrities and influencers to land endorsements for my own brand. I show you how to grow a real following on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube from scratch. And I show you how to set up, structure, and scale up Facebook ads and TikTok ads for your clothing brand. If you're interested, you can learn more about what's inside at clothingbrandmarketing.com, and I hope to see you inside.